Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on September 18th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll get started with our calendar here. So big news that's coming up tomorrow here for Wednesday is our US FOMC here, but prior to that, we also have CPI, which is our inflation data year-over-year numbers coming up in the London session here. Then we also have final and core CPI numbers here for the Eurozone. So these CPI numbers are important because these are one of the numbers that the central banks will track. Excuse me, and they base their monetary policy partly considering these numbers. So these are important numbers to keep in mind. We also have CPI numbers for Canada here. So again, if the CPI numbers are below expectations, we generally see the currencies drop as a result of that. And then big thing here, our Fed. We have FOMC at noon here, Eastern time. So there's at this point, everybody's expecting the Fed to cut rates. So we are expecting an interest rate cut from 2.25 to 2.0. And with this one here, so everybody's expecting an interest rate cut. That means there's a lot of expectation around it. And what we generally see is when the market is expecting something to happen, and when that event happens, generally there's this saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. So on the expectation, we see price move a certain way, and then when the news happens, it goes in the other direction. So do watch out for that. So my apologies here. Buy the rumor, sell the news stuff could be something that we may see play out tomorrow. So watch out for that. So right now, US dollar is essentially down because of the interest rate cut, because interest rate cuts drop. When the interest rate cuts happen, we see a drop in the currencies. So US dollar has been negative. Today, we have seen a drop in it. But after the news cut, if the Fed doesn't comment on future interest rate cuts, so if they say that they are going to wait and see how things play out. So the things that they are going to consider would be the US-China trade relations. They're looking at geopolitical issues, as well as the big thing is the economic conditions in the US. Right now, the data that's coming out is actually quite strong for the US. So there's really no need to do further interest rate cuts. So if that's the thinking that the Fed has, or they are wanting to wait and see how things go before they give us the forward guidance in terms of the rates, that will be, that means that we could see US dollar actually go up as a result of that. So dollar crosses could drop as a result. So just keep that in mind. And then we also have GDP numbers for the quarter for New Zealand. So New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar both have been under pressure. So if the numbers come in below expectations, we are likely to see a drop in New Zealand dollar here. And same for Australian dollar here. If we see a drop in the employment numbers here, we're likely to see Australian dollar drop as a result. And then we have Bank of Japan here, monetary policy statement. At this point, Bank of Japan is not expected to really change a whole lot. They are expected to keep the status quo, and so everything should be the same. But if their comments are more dovish, so if they're concerned about the geopolitical issues, the trade wars and such, that could have a negative impact on Japanese yen. So yen crosses could go up as a result. But otherwise, this should generally, I'm not really expecting Bank of Japan to do a whole lot at this point. So it would just be a status quo. So that's it in terms of news. A ton of data coming out tomorrow. So we could see volatility in the market. Watch out for that. So let's go to our charts now. All right, euro dollar. Euro dollar, I was looking for a move to the downside, but price has been trading in this range. So we saw price basically turned around. It went into the support and turned around. We are still in this range here. So price is almost into the high of this range, but there is this outside edge that it could test. So what I would look for is potentially a push into 1.1080. If it doesn't go through, then a move to the downside. We could see a move higher here. And if it doesn't break through, a move to the downside. But for now, price seems to be stuck in the range. So I'm looking for a range-bound move. So my bias is more neutral, looking for it to reject the top of the range here and move lower towards the middle of the range, potentially towards the bottom of the range. Like I said, if the Fed doesn't deliver beyond what the market is expecting, then we're likely to see a reversal. So that's for euro. So bias is neutral for euro dollar for today. Pound dollar here. So bias here is still bullish. We were talking about, or we had talked about this yesterday, about how if price does not break below 1.2380, then it could go higher. So right now, bias is bullish. It's been holding above the previous support resistance. So it's still on the bullish side here. Now, it has been trading in a bit of a range here as well for the last 3 days. So we could see price come back towards the middle of the range or towards the bottom of this range. So there's that. We could see that move, but bias is bullish. Should it break through the high, I'm looking for price to go into the next level here, which would be 1.2580. So bias is bullish right now for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, this one is still trading in that range, so bias is neutral. Yesterday we did see that move to the downside, but it got pulled back. For now, bias is neutral, so we need to see price close on either side of the range. So either we need to see a drop below this support level for it to continue lower, or we need to see a move through the high and for it to hold so it can move higher. But for now, it is right in the middle, so bias is neutral. Once it closes and holds on one of these sides, then we can pick that direction. So bias is neutral for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, we saw that initial drop that we were expecting came into the support and then pushed higher. Right now, it is right into this resistance here. So as long as price stays below 0.6360, I would look for price to drop. Now, if it goes through this level, we could see price go to the next level here into 0.6400. But for now, though, this one is also neutral for New Zealand dollar. Aussie dollar here, sorry, not Aussie dollar, dollar CAD. Dollar CAD, a big move to the upside. And then we have a rejection. So bias here is to the downside here. We could see dollar CAD drop. Now we could see a pullback into 1.3270 and then a move lower here. So bias is to the downside for dollar CAD. Target is 1.3220. Over to silver here. Silver, we have a bullish candle close, but it's still into the resistance. So if it doesn't go through the 18 level, it can come back down, but it is looking bullish. So my bias would be bullish, but I would be concerned at the 18 level because if it doesn't go through, like I said, it could come down. But for now, bias is bullish. Next target is 18.25. So bullish bias for silver. Gold is still range bound here. We did see a bit of a drop. It moved up. So bias is neutral. Our candle here for the day is completely neutral. So we could see a move towards 1510 here. And if it stays below that level, then we're looking for price to drop then. So for now, bias is neutral for gold. Oil, a huge drop in oil here. So we had talked about this yesterday. So we have seen this big drop. The move that happened to the upside got reversed. So essentially all the moves from the beginning of the week here of Monday got reversed. So here now the bias is bearish. Now it could go and test this level. So watch out for that, which is 60 level, and then potentially 59.50 here as well. So I would look for a pullback and then a further drop here. So bias is bearish for oil. Now it is into support, so be mindful of that. If it doesn't break through, then it could go back higher, but bias is bearish. Next target here would be 57, so bearish bias for oil. Copper, this one is still looking bearish. We saw a drop, so now looking for price to move towards the bottom here of the range. 2.50 is the target, so bearish bias here for copper. Bitcoin still going sideways here, doesn't seem to have any direction at this moment. So neutral bias for this. So we need to see some sort of a directional move before we can really take a position on this. For now, bias is neutral. It's as long as it stays below 10,400, I would look for it to come back down towards 96.70. But for now, it's just sideways. All right, so S&P 500 here, we have a bullish candle close. So I will look for price to move higher into 30.20. Now, with this one, keep the whole, sell the room, buy the news, buy the news, buy the rumor, sell the news. So keep that in mind, buy the rumor, sell the news. That means if Fed cuts rates, but they do not provide any forward guidance as to when they're going to cut future rates, we could see the equity markets turn around. So for now, the bias is bullish, but we could see this come back down towards 29.80. So keep that in mind. See how Fed does things, and then we could see this reversal. However, another thing to keep in mind here is we are right into the support resistance level where price has turned around before. So we could see a turn here, but for now, bullish bias here. Target is 3020. Nasdaq here, this one is also bullish. We have a bullish candle close. It is into resistance, so it needs to hold on the other side for the move to really continue. But bullish bias here, 79.70 is the target to the upside for Nasdaq. DAX here, this one is also sideways for the last few days here. Price has just been stuck in this range. So we have rejected the bottom of the range. So looking for price to go towards the high of the range at 12,470 level here. So bias is bullish here for DAX. FTSE here, we did see that drop that we were looking for, but today's candle close is very neutral. So bias is neutral here. Now I will look for a retest of the 73.40 level, and as long as price stays below, we're looking for a further drop. So bias is neutral for the moment. Price is trading in this big range here. So I'm looking for price to basically go back and forth within that range. So neutral bias. This one, the price could come towards 72.20 level here. Nikkei here, this one is looking bullish here, so bias is bullish. Next target is 22,100, so bullish bias here for Nikkei as well. So that's it for today. You guys have a great trading day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.